Hello everybody, my name is Danny and this is my vlog, which of course is another expression for video blog or video log. For those who don't know, today is Tuesday, July 18, 2017. The time is 3:34 p.m. here, and I'm just going to time this so I don't go over, making sure. Wouldn't want the camera to stop abruptly. Okay, so like I said before, I think that just like anything, variety is a spice of life. One thing is that I'm definitely no professional at this. I've only been doing these vlogs. I've only been doing these vlogs for a few months, so I'm definitely no pro. And like I said before, it's something that I'm getting better at, and it's just about practice makes perfect. Practice. And a lot of it is trial and error and experimentation. Going through the last few ones that I had made, I noticed that, well, it seemed like the sound that was coming out from me, like in the noise, what I'm talking about is the sound in which I'm speaking. Sometimes I found that when I was watching the recording myself, it was kind of hard to hear me a little bit. That might be because I've been doing them, the last few ones, outdoors, and there's a lot of background music. So there's a lot of like, whether it's like people playing tennis, people biking, little kids playing, birds, the river or whatever. So I just want you guys to let you know that I find that it is horrible in which I would make a vlog and you can't hear me. That is a horrible thing, because there's no point if I'm speaking and you can't hear me, right? There's no point in making a vlog in which people can't hear me speak. So I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. So if I do try to speak a little louder, and maybe if it's a little louder than most of you are used to or like, I apologize, but I would rather be a little louder and make sure that everyone can hear me than some people not hear me at all, because that can't work, okay? So I was just saying that, like I said, the thing about these life is variety is a spice of life, just like vlogs. So I do try to make these vlogs in different places, right? It's kind of like I said before. If all I did was sit in front of the same desk, you know, that would get really stale, right? Or if all you did was see my face the whole time, that would get really stale. So today again, I'm trying to, this is a new place again. So I'm in, for those who don't know, I'm in Bowring Park again. And if you've been watching my last few vlogs, I've been in Bowring Park. So I'm in Bowring Park again. This is a new spot in which not only am I doing a vlog for the first time, but I've actually never been to this area of the park before. I'm actually not even from Newfoundland, and so I'm not really even familiar with this park that much. Just to let you guys know. So in one of my older vlogs, I did one from from the other duck pond. So I guess when I was looking at the map of the park, I guess it says that there are two duck ponds. So one duck pond in which I did the other vlog was down by the main entrance, and this one here is the other duck pond. And it seems to me, for example, that both of them each have one swan. And like I explained before, in this area, the swan, for whatever reason, is considered an invasive species. And I'll let you guys Google what invasive species means, because it's a little complicated and long. So there can only really be like 2 swans in this park. And so 1 swan in each park. And there is definitely 1 swan in this pond. And I'm going to show you it in a second here. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to show you guys, give you guys a little 360 here. And again, again, I'm not a pro technical person either, so I have my camera on selfie mode, so I can't really see what I'm focusing on. So if I do miss things or whatever, I do apologize, okay? So I'm gonna try to do a little bit of a 360. So yeah, unfortunately we have these annoying pigeons, which I hate. And if you see right, there's a little ramp. Now, although there's pigeons on the ramp, I'm thinking like, did the park people actually build a ramp just so that the ducks and the swan can travel from the water to the land? Like, are they that lazy that they can't just like step up or fly up a little bit or whatever, so that we actually had to make a little ramp for them? But anyways, that's kind of nice for the people to do that, although I think it makes the birds a little lazy, but that's just my opinion. And yeah, a nice little like water sparkler type thing. I guess I don't know what the functional point of the water sparkler type thing is, but it makes the environment just a little more like interesting, I guess. So more stimulating. And then you see, definitely you guys can see the ducks by now, and that swan, there's that 1 swan now by the rock. So hopefully I'm focusing on that, because it's just a funny story, because and I just before I forget, I want to give you guys the whole 360. So apparently there's a playground like in back there that you guys can probably see just like a little bit. And yeah, nice little park again. Picnic tables, lots of picnic tables if you want to have like a nice little picnic, nice little lunch here, that type of thing. So kind of a funny story that I wanted to say, because last time I was at the duck pond, there were a bunch of kids like just throwing out these huge amounts of food that their mothers gave them, and like they were just little kids, like 4 or 5 years old. And then there was this older kid, he was like maybe like 8 or 9, and he was on the side, and that 1 swan, this was in the other pond, well, the swan came over for the food, and the swan with its long neck reached over and bit the 9-year-old's boy right in the arm. Well, I was surprised because I've never seen that before, but I found it very, very strange that a swan would like bite like a little boy's arm like that. But the little boy, he was a pretty tough kid, like a 9-year-old, maybe 10, maybe 11-ish. I'm not sure, but it didn't hurt him or anything. But you have to be careful with those swans, because like they can kind of bite you, right? So I did happen to check what I have in my pockets, and I only have 1 piece of food, and I'd like to give that 1 piece of food to the swan if that's possible. So let me see if I can try to do that. Hard to get the swan's attention. I find that like seagulls, which there are a few here, are like, they are just bastards when it comes to food and stealing people's foods. But with swans, I find it's hard to get their attention a lot. I know if I throw my one piece of food, because I've done this before, where the seagulls will just swoop and just get every single like piece of food before anything. They're real vultures, right? So as you can see, the swans are interesting because they're different, and so that I'm not really used to swans, but they like to spend their time like grooming themselves and licking themselves and making sure their feathers are nice and neat and stuff like that. They're very preoccupied. Even when you do throw food in and everybody goes for it, the swan usually doesn't really go for it. But I'm just gonna see if here. Okay. Swan, 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 swan. And I know when I throw this one piece of food out, those damn seagulls are gonna grab it. But I cannot stay here forever. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, I threw it. I don't know if you guys saw it. The swan didn't even care. The swan didn't even care. Still grooming himself. I think one of the ducks got it. Okay. Enough of that. Yeah. Definitely an interesting sort of species. Okay, I think I've set up my camera in a good place again. So yeah, so I think it's important in vlogs to talk about a good variety of subjects. Just to let you know, I'm trying to, the reason I talk about a lot of different subjects is because I want to try to broaden my audience, right? So the bigger audience that I have, the better, right? I don't ever want to narrow my audience that much, because I mean, when you're on things like YouTube or social media, one of the biggest indicators as to how well you do at your success is the number of views that you get. So you want to try to generate as much views as you can, right? So that way you have to generate and broaden your audience, right? So that's why, just to let you guys know that a lot of the times I tend to like talk about different things. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was soccer, because before I forget, because soccer, a lot of my followers are soccer people. So on our last game was on our last game. When was our last game? Our last game was on Saturday, and so I picked Saturday because Sunday's forecast was supposed to be rainy, and so Sunday had a clear forecast. And just to get you guys up to speed, so on Saturday, as you know, there are two fields. There's one full field and one smaller field, and when we went, the full field was taken. Although we could have possibly used a smaller field, our previous game, which was on Monday, as I said before, we had a full field on Monday, so we had like almost 30 players. So 30 players, again, would have been too much for the small field. So we had tried to go to the Mun outdoor field, but that field was occupied, and someone told me that it's occupied by the Special Olympics for the next few weeks, which is strange because that field is usually open. So we went back and we ended up playing at the same original smaller field. The numbers were pretty good. Maybe on average about maybe like around maybe an 8 on 8. You know, some people left early, some people came in late. So on average about an 8 on 8. Just a few comments. Most of our players are very sportsmanlike in the sense that collisions do happen, right? They're accidental collisions. So most of that is kind of like two people going for the ball and kind of like one people just accidentally hitting into the other person. But that happens quite often, and usually we like stop the play and we make sure that the person is like feeling better and stuff, and that's just like being nice and respectful to an injured player, right? And pretty much every single time that happens, like they just either get up and start playing right away, or maybe they'll take a few minutes off and then they'll be fine. We won't even talk about if people fake because that's just a whole different issue. So there was one guy, I don't think he minds me saying his name. Well, Yasin, he's a good soccer player and he's a pretty tough guy. So he went down, and I was surprised that he didn't get up and start playing again. He went to the sidelines, and I guess he felt his injury was bad enough that he went home in the middle of the game, which is fine, because if you're hurt really badly, you should not continue playing. I just hope that he's okay and that he plays in our upcoming game, right? So the game, was like, it was a beautiful day out. I think on that day it peaked at 24 Celsius. It was like kind of high. It was high energy, lots of hustling, skillful. Maybe not the most skillful. Technically wise, not the most technical either. But we ended it on a good note where the yellow team won, and it was also, as usual, sportsmanlike, social, and there was a lot of camaraderie amongst players and that type of thing. So that game I was pretty happy with. What else am I going to talk about now? Okay. I want to talk about a little bit about movies because I just want to check my camera just to make sure I'm not going over here. Yeah. So movies. I always like to talk about movies because I love movies. I was saying on the last vlog that the new reboot of Spider-Man was doing well, which was surprising because the last trilogy failed. And the last Spider-Man trilogy failed, and a lot of the movies were just not doing well this summer. And you know, movies are all about the summer, right? Summer's all about the movies, and so it's just really weird that movies were just doing so terribly all summer for some reason. But Spider-Man did well. However, it seems like the new Planet of the Apes movie has surpassed that new Spider-Man movie. Now, that's interesting because that Planet of the Apes, that Planet of the Apes franchise is really weird because when I was a little kid, like on TV, they used to rerun like Planet of the Apes, like when either, I don't know what I was watching on TV, whether it was like movies that were big screen or if they had like an actual TV series. I'm not sure, but like I guess when you're a little kid you tend to just watch a lot of TV and not think about it, you just watch it. But I was always so captivated about like the Planet of the Apes that I saw on TV as a little kid, and I always found it so interesting because it was so different, especially at that time when not much was there, right? You know, you have like the typical alien movies, right, which were whatever, you know, E.T. or Close Encounters of the Third Kind or Star Wars. But then you have like this new like science fiction thing of like these apes who kind of like take over Earth, or like or undermine humans, which is a crazy idea, right? I mean, it's kind of like there's this fascination with aliens of any kind, right? Like since humans have been like in existence, right? But to think of like non-alien type like aliens, you know, aside from the normal like science fiction Star Wars aliens, like as an ape to kind of like conquer humans and conquer Earth. That's really interesting. So I kind of really think that like even though it's an old franchise, for some reason, even this summer people are still gravitating towards it for some reason. So I'm kind of like a little surprised that like that franchise is still really popular. It's kind of like, I know I might be wrong with this research, but the closest DNA to humans are either, I don't know if it's apes or chimpanzees, but they're close, right? So like the apes or whether it's chimpanzees, they're the next closest DNA to humans. So to think really that like these animals could overtake us like that, it's really an interesting concept. And I think that's why a lot of people still kind of gravitate and pay money out of their pockets for this type of stuff, right? So let me check the time here. So music. Metallica, one of my favorite bands of all time. Still going strong. They came out with their new album, I think in like October of I think it was October of 2016 is when they came out with their new album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct or something like that, and I guess it's really good. I've heard it a few times, but things don't really stick into my mind. I need to listen to that stuff a lot until I kind of admit to myself that I actually like it. But it's weird because their previous album was, I think, in 2008. I think it was Death Magnetic, I might be wrong, which was another, I don't know, it was a controversial album for many reasons, but and so they're touring like this week in Quebec, like Quebec City, Montreal. I think they did Toronto this week too, or something like that. So I just want to talk about music. I wanted to talk about tennis because, like I said in my last vlog, I've always played a lot of tennis, especially when I was younger. I haven't played lately for different reasons. I know there's no excuses for that, but Wimbledon just ended and Federer again wins Wimbledon. I think he's like 30, he's like in his 30s now, 35, and he's still winning Wimbledon. Like guys like Federer and Nadal, the thing about them is that they're so consistent, right? Like to find that sort of consistency is really hard to find. I'm not trying to be discriminatory or anything, but if you compare it to women's tennis, which is the complete opposite, which is completely inconsistent. I mean, there are some exceptions with Serena Williams and stuff like that, but to see like people like Federer with that sort of consistency in any sport is just amazing, right? And he beat as a Canadian, he beat our Canadian Milos Razovic. People weren't expecting the Canadian Milos Razovic to beat him, but unfortunately he beat him, I think, in the quarterfinals. But yeah, what else? I still have about 2 minutes left, so such a beautiful day in St. John's, Newfoundland here. Someone told me that it was supposed to peak at 32 Celsius, so I don't know if that's like the humidity factor, which gives it a few more degrees, or that probably is so, but still a very beautiful day. Some people complain, oh well, it's like too hot. I don't think it's too hot. There's a nice breeze. It's just perfect. It's so beautiful here. A lot of people in the park, lots of families, right? Adults, little kids, scooters, bikes, walkers, babies. Yeah, I still have about a minute left. So, yeah, I don't want to make this video go too long either. So, I don't want to make these videos too short, but I don't want to make them too long either. So it's sort of hard sometimes to find like a middle ground, right? So anyways, I'm going to end it here because I don't want this to cut off. And so thank you for watching my vlogs. Thank you for watching these. Make sure that you all subscribe to my YouTube channel. And peace out.